The downtown's obviously an important part of the City of Calgary's cultural and economic fabric, and therefore there was significant effort placed in ensuring that the downtown would remain secure for flood events, even in excess of what we saw back in 2013.
Most areas were protected to about that 750, 780 CMS, but when the 2013 flood came at 1820, it just went right over top of anything that was already there, right?
So in Canmore, we actually face two different types of flooding. River flooding from the Bow River and also steep creek flooding.
Since 2013, the city's undertaken a suite of projects. They involve both local protection, improvements to drainage, as well as improvements to some of our storm and sanitary drainage infrastructure. We've had improvements in bridges, and we've also improved our riverbank stability through bioengineering and erosion protection works. Investments have been made, like the West Eau Claire and downtown flood barriers, to improve the flood resilience of downtown. The downtown is protected both by local flood protection infrastructure as well as other more regional pieces of infrastructure, including operational agreements like the TransAlta Government of Alberta Ghost Reservoir Operating Agreement. We are continuing to work on a flood barrier not unlike the one that we see here for communities throughout Calgary, including in the community of Sunnyside, across the river from where we are right now. These are important investments that help improve the resilience of those communities and ensure that the life safety and the economic risks associated with flooding are mitigated.
The debris flood retention structure that we're building will act as a dry dam. What that means is during low flow, all the water will actually pass freely right through it. There's no constriction, so all the water, the sediment will go right through it. Once you start getting higher flows, then the structure will actually start retaining some of the water and most of the debris. The water will be able to still pass through the structure, but at a much lower rate, much lower flow, which means that when it goes through culverts downstream and through our channel that we have here, it's a lot less destructive, and it will actually be able to go down and not bring down a lot of sediment and those big trees that were coming down and large boulders flowing down. The steep creeks are actually quite special because they entrain a lot of sediment and debris when they flow. Very destructive force, therefore it requires some special mitigation. Right away after the 2013 flood, we started our steep creek hazard mitigation program. The goals of that program was to understand what had happened in 2013, what also could happen in the future, what is the risk to the community in different areas, and how we can actually mitigate this risk. So that's the program that we've been working with since the floods.
Safety and security was priority number one in our list of priorities for the cleanup. So the future of High River was not looking very good unless we got the security taken care of, and trying to do as much as we possibly could to prevent 2013 from ever happening again in High River. So with the assistance, of course, of the Alberta government and funding us with that plan, we now have a mitigation program in High River that involves us removing the two neighborhoods of Beechwood and Wallaceville, but also building the berms that we're standing on now, which is about 9 kilometers worth of berms that protects the entirety of the town from 2013 happening again. And we also built it to the 2013 water level of 1,820 CMS, plus another meter of freeboard protection. So we're now protected with our modeling showing about well over 3,000 CMS. So we've almost doubled our protection. Just behind us down the pathway where Center Street goes across the bridge, we put in floodgates, so that seals that bridge off from the water coming into downtown.
We'd like to thank our funding partners, Province of Alberta and the federal government to help us through, in the last 10 years basically, through this mitigation program that we have going and supporting us.
Working with many partners, the City of Calgary, the Government of Alberta, the Government of Canada, and those regional partners have been able to increase the flood resilience in Calgary very significantly. Today, in 2023, we are at a place where 55% of the damage risk that existed back in 2013 has been eliminated by investments already put in place. When the Springbank Offstream Reservoir comes online, we expect that will be as high as 70%. More than 2/3 of the risk we had a decade ago has been eliminated by investments undertaken or underway presently.